Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Eric for President. For those new to the channel, welcome. You can find links and sources for everything we discussed down in the video description. You can also find timestamps for all stories down in the pinned comment, as well as right below here. That way you can watch exactly what you want. Also, the secondary channel with daily VR clips will actually have probably 2 uploads a day now, because for those in isolation, a little bit more for you to watch, doing my part. And the current Oculus Quest headset giveaway. This is the last video before the winner will be announced. Ways to enter are down in the pinned comment. Please leave a like to support this video, share with a friend. Let's get right into the VR news. So we start today off with a great purpose. The purpose of making VR content, whether on YouTube, other media outlets, or really anything, is to get more eyes on VR, because it's hard enough. There are enough barriers to get into VR already, and there's just not many ways for users to understand what it is. So it's up to us to keep making great content. And UploadVr did something that I don't know why it's not getting more attention. I think it's a pretty big deal, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. So UploadVr did something I think is pretty terrific for the VR scene that hasn't gotten near enough attention. Sure, in the past I've ripped on the platform a bit, mostly for their lack of personality that I think's needed to gain a little more traction. And while sometimes their articles do fall flat or are skewed to one platform, the sum of their parts really add a lot of value to the VR scene, and I think they do a terrific job. In their most recent move, with not enough attention given, they have recorded and cataloged the entirety of Half-Life Alyx in episodic, cinematically played episodes for people to watch the entire story of Half-Life Alyx. A total of 4 hours and 20 minutes in a Netflix-style binge episode formula, or if you want, a Lord of the Rings extended cut movie all at once. Now, this footage was recorded on a Valve Index with no commentary and played in story mode, which allows Jamie Feltham to move through the game as smoothly as possible. This way he can show all the wonderful details of the game. Now, obviously content with Half-Life Alyx is just drilled into y'all. I'm sure if you watched one Half-Life Alyx video, your YouTube echo chamber is filled with it now. But I'm interested to hear what you think about UploadVr doing something like this. I've spoken with a few people about it, and while some think it's awesome, others think it's just a way for people not to buy the game. And I'd argue this, hear me out. This is one of the greatest things a media outlet could do. Provide a way for people without VR to watch it in the most optimal settings. Because who really cares past the initial wave of people who bought Half-Life Alyx? I don't care about a $60 purchase, and I don't think a lot of the VR community does either. One $60 purchase doesn't make or break VR. But that person now who watched Half-Life Alyx during possibly the isolation that they're in right now, and had a blast watching it the way UploadVr presented it, well, they may now buy VR. And then they might be up by 1 game, or 2 games, or 3 games, and more, and you see what this does. The more eyes on VR for our growing niche, the more people who are made aware, who are able to experience it in a way that's not, say, like attaching a GoPro to your head and being all jittery, which a lot of VR content creating gameplays look like sometimes. UploadVr, you did a terrific job on this one. You deserve more attention, and I'm excited to hear what everyone thinks about it. But of course, I have to touch base on Oculus Update 15.0 is actively rolling out right now. Here's what to expect, not everything, but the biggest things you want to know about it. Oculus release notes featured on the official support page go over everything you need to know and will be linked in the video description, but here are the main features of it. To start, the Oculus Link is getting some much needed bug fixes and improvements, especially the dreaded 3 dots and black screen error. Separate options for mic and video will be present, also making it easier to debug and figure out what went wrong with the Oculus Link setup. The new user interface will also be available as part of the Oculus Quest Update 15.0, which does have to be enabled once updated in the Experimental Features tab. This new UI I spoke about before. I personally find this to be the most important update right now, as it creates much better sense of presence, identity, and functionality for the system as a whole. Something I also think everyone is glad to finally see will be Pass-Through Plus as well, although again this is under the Experimental Features tab. This is something many expected last year based on the announcement at F8. With this experimental feature, you'll be able to enable the pass-through mode in-game with a simple double tap of the headset. And lastly, we have the new social features for this update. Although the catch of linking a Facebook account to your Oculus account will still be present for any of these features to work, yeah, they get you that way. Now when sending an Oculus party invite to a friend who does not have the headset on, they'll get a phone alert and be able to auto-join you by putting on the Quest and accepting it via the phone app. That's this current update. There's plenty more. That link will be in the video description so you can see everything, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I think overall it's a pretty solid update, a lot of good features that basically add a lot of value to the Oculus Quest. In addition, for those wanting it, remember this rolls out over time, so if your friends are getting it and you haven't got it yet, please be patient. Make sure your Oculus Quest is plugged in, connected to Wi-Fi, and automatic updates are turned on. That'll be the quickest way for you to get it, or go into the settings tab for the manual updates. but go ahead and try to see if you can get it. There's some great updates in this one. And lastly, I'm going to give some attention to them, although I'm not naming names, but we got to talk about the true a-holes of the day, the people who want to spoil games in their titles and thumbnails, which you can do to prevent it from happening to you, and why it's important to talk about right now, especially for VR. Now, I understand that you may be asking why this needs to be talked about, and that's fair. If you're on the internet and you see something, that's on you. I agree with that to a degree. VR, though, is unique, and I know that I'm very biased here, but the quantity of big VR titles are few and far between, especially for story-based narratives. In fact, getting games at the level of, say, Boneworks, The Walking Dead, and of course Half-Life Alyx are likely to be counted on one hand over the course of a year, and that's likely the case for the next few years moving forward, which is why spoilers are so detrimental to the VR scene. Look, with the way things are now, many of you may be at home, self-isolating, and with the way YouTube works, you watch 1 or 2 Half-Life Alyx videos, now again, your echo chamber of recommendations will come in, and that's where the problem lies, in thumbnails and titles. Things your eyes will hit and see regardless if you click or watch them. You have people like this grade A a-hole who I won't give the channel name or full thumb because I don't want to give them any more attention than they have, but both the title, which was later edited, and the thumbnail, the literal last scene of Half-Life Alyx, were right there on my homepage the other day after I finished the game. Now don't be this guy. The video is literally just the last section with no indication of what you're about to watch. Also, this very, very large channel has the exact ending written right in the title with the thumbnail. Again, there's no way to avoid this and it should not be done. So that's my little vent on it. Of course, I have a little bit more to say, but I always stop to ask you guys, what do you think about this? Is it up to the creator to make sure their title and thumbnails don't have spoilers in them, or they let you know there are spoilers coming in the video? Or is it up to the user to do their research and make sure they're not getting eyeballs on things they don't want to see? Now, I do have a recommendation for those who absolutely do not want to self-isolate from the virtual world and the real life world. Well, you can use something called BlockTube, which I put down in the video description. Is a Google Chrome extension that you can put keywords in that will stop these from being recommended to you. So you can put the term Half-Life Alyx in there and won't get those videos as much, so you can avoid spoilers. If you ask my personal opinion though, it is my responsibility to make sure I don't spoil anything for you, the viewer. I need to do my best in title and thumbnail to let you know what you're going to be seeing, but not spoil anything for you. That way you can make an informed decision if you want to watch the video to experience the game, especially with how great Half-Life Alyx is. There is no reason for me to even allude to anything that you may have in that game. But that is the end of today's episode. Please leave a like to support this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. That way you never miss an upload. Join the Patreon. It helps me tremendously because everything put there is just reinvested back to y'all for giveaways like the headsets we do monthly. And I thank you for all the support on that. And you also get the full-length podcast if you're in that as well. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. VR Space Cowboys.